Good. I'm going to talk probably for an hour and 45 minutes with plenty of times where I'm stopping, asking for questions. I'll keep an eye on chat. Please don't ask in that kind of hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours. Don't ask a lot of client questions that really, we'll handle the consultation part first. In this first chunk of time, I really need to introduce this approach, this version of this approach. And if you put client questions in there, I love them and I can't not answer them, and it's going to gobble up time. So there's a fair amount to cover. Good news is, who here is EMDR trained? If you're EMDR trained, you probably spent 40 hours learning just training and then another 10 hours of consultation. So I can pretty much cover this version of Flash in 2 hours. So that's good. It's pretty simple. It's remarkably simple. But it is also a lot to cover in 2 hours. After that, we'll take a short break and we'll come back and we'll practice this as a group together. And I just want to let you know, I'll kind of lead you through the group. You're not going to have to be in an active role if you don't want to be. I'm the only therapist in the therapist role. So you can do this in the client role if you would like. The resources that we're going to develop are essential to doing this. So please develop those resources because they serve as like the four walls of the chimney that are going to allow us to do this work kind of safely. Plus, it's I don't know where y'all are, but where I am, it's Tuesday evening late. It's after 9 o'clock. So feel free to sit these exercises. I mean, sit the practice out if you're walking around with your hand on the trauma container lid, right? And when we get to the practice, work on something that has a little bit of heat, but isn't the thing you need to spend a whole summer in therapy because I'm not going to be able to help you at 12:01 my time. So just we'll be cautious. We'll be a little bit cautious here. And then the remaining time I'll answer whatever questions you have about whatever your questions are. Okay. Good. I will keep an eye out on chat. Please just be aware that if I'm not answering your question, right now may not be the best time for me to answer that question. It may be of content that's coming. And again, please hold client questions until after the practice. Okay. A little bit about me. I'm Tom Zimmerman. I'm a therapist in Ohio. I'm the EMDR trainer and consultant, and I consult a lot about the intersection of EMDR and complex trauma. Um, Yeah, and some of you may know me because I kind of manage some of the really big EMDR resources online, or at least started a lot of them. The EMDR podcast, EMDR Third Weekend, the EMDR Therapist Resources Group on Facebook. But what I've been doing largely for free, and those of you that did pay $25 to get into this training, all of that money is going toward future Flash research in 2025 and 2026 and 2027. So thank you. Thank you for that. Those of you that got in with the code, thank you all for being here. I'm super happy to train you. Welcome to those of you who are not trained in EMDR or any other transformational trauma therapy. I think this can be an especially amazing tool to let you see real remarkable recovery up close, session after session after session. Yeah, also point to other resources. There is a group, Flash Sandbox. If you're on Facebook, Flash Sandbox group, where about 2,000 people who've taken this training are there. You can ask questions. You can ask for people to practicum this with you. Everyone there's a therapist, and they'll practicum with you if you show up and say, "Hey, I want to practice this before I try this with my clients." Um, good. Any questions before we start? All right.
Hi. Could
Yes,
you please put the Facebook link on the chat?
sure. Yep. Me 1 second. It's also in the file with all the links near the bottom. Flash Sandbox group on Facebook. Yep. Good. Okay. I'm also going to put that, I'm going to put the link to the file that contains all the other links in chat, just so that you can have it. For those of you that may have joined recently. Awesome. All right. So Flash was developed about 8 years ago by an EMDR therapist named Phil Manfield, who also does trainings in the kind of original slash official version of Flash. You can train with him if you like at flashtechnique.com. Flash emerged as a way to kind of soothe the the very rocky marriage between EMDR therapy and really complex trauma, right? And it emerged as a way to kind of take some heat out of memories before we go into it in EMDR therapy. And really, who wouldn't, especially with someone with complex trauma, who wouldn't want to go in a memory at a 2, 3, 4 rather than an 8, 9, 10? So Flash emerged as a way to kind of like let you do really existentially hot work sometimes with people who may not be able to tolerate doing that work in EMDR therapy. And Flash isn't the only thing to emerge to kind of settle that rocky marriage or try to settle the rocky marriage. Um, Enhanced resourcing, right? All of the Parnell attachment stuff is also this, and the parts work that everybody seems to be talking about pretty endlessly, and rightfully so, right? So I'm not knocking it, but a lot of that is to kind of help people resource in a way to do EMDR therapy effectively. What we've learned, and this part isn't controversial, what we've learned since its development is that when you do Flash well, it resolves memories. Fully adaptively, permanently resolves memories with nearly no distress the vast majority of the time. Um, with with a positive belief about yourself already automatically installed, right? So we don't even ask about cognitions. So, um, so yeah, this is a training to show you how to do one version of Flash well, so that I will work with you endlessly and for free. I do two free consultations a month that you can come to and get any of your Flash client questions answered. The link is in that live file that's in chat, but I'll also remind you of all these resources that you can have access to later. So if you're trained in other versions of Flash, I will encourage you to come to this one with a beginner's mind, because this version, while it is a version of Flash and that we're looking at a memory lightning quickly and we're having multiple exposures to pleasant information, it is a version of Flash in that regard. It is conceptually and practically different than the other versions. So you may be waiting, Tom, where's the slow bilateral? Well, there's no slow bilateral. Where's the suds? There's no suds, right, in this version of Flash. And we'll talk about why the things that are in this version are in it and why some things that are in other versions are removed. Okay. So again, I want to show you the 6 steps in this version of Flash, show you how to do them well, show them how to intervene and recognize when something's not going well, and then successfully intervene to get them back on track. as with any trauma therapy, there are things that can be done that might not be ideal, right? So even though I say flash is very, very simple, we're talking about trauma, and it's kind of like anything, right? It's like love or parenting. It's really, really simple right up until the point that it's not. And and things can get existentially complicated really quickly. But but there's six core steps to this approach. The seventh step is just working in the future prong, right? Working in the future. And when you get the six steps, working in the future is simply as it's as simple as changing a word or two in the script. So good. So what is Flash? Short version. Flash is it combines micro activation, okay, with many, many brief exposures to pleasant information. So we look at the memory in Flash lightning fast, and I invite you to copy with me. So make now, if you have a bad wrist or you have a bad shoulder, don't do this, okay? But if you can, imagine this is the door. And again, hold your hands up if you have a good wrist like me. This is the door to the room that you're in. So outside the door, there's no trauma. There's just a regular room. And what we're going to do is we're going to open and close the door super, super quickly. Okay, good. Do it again, but that was way too slow. That 20 zombies are going to get out if you don't, right? So let's do it even faster. Even faster. Good. Good. Do it now. Try to do it 10 times faster. Okay, good. So that's the speed. That's the speed that we're going to look at the memory the first few times we look at it, right? Because remember, this isn't like a regular garden hose. Trauma's not like that. It's like a garden hose with 50,000 PSI, right? It's like you do this for just a moment and 5 gallons of stuff can come out. And we're trying to get a paper thin slice. We're trying to get a paper thin slice. So if in the memory, your father's saying, "You're so stupid," we're just getting, yeah, uh, one little piece, one little, right? Now, even as I say that, does that sound a little bit unsatisfying? Right? Well, let me think about this way. Do you think there might be some memories that you might want to work on where you're almost connecting with, or you're like, oh, you get just a tiny bit of anger and you think parts of you might want to go, I want more. I want to get mad. And right. So I was talking with a friend, and and I said, "Oh no, no, there's no crying in Flash." They're like, "What?" But the point is that we're trying to not have a catharsis. Why we're trying to not strongly feel the memory. We're trying to access a single frame, a single piece, a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of it. Okay. So when I say there's no crying in Flash, that doesn't mean if grief comes, we're not sitting with it and letting the client feel that. That's not what I mean. But in general, if you're having a body-based catastrophe, we're going to immediately stop and deal with that. We are not pushing into it. You know how in EMDR we push into the stress up until the point that it's not wise for them to continue noticing it. If you're noticing 1 ounce of distress in your body in this version of Flash, we're stopping. We're using one of our four resources and we're not continuing until that distress is moving away from you. And we'll talk about why that's important. Okay. So we're glancing at a memory lightning fast, and then we're immediately pivoting to a YouTube video where they're in this video 30 seconds at a time. And it's videos of kittens wrestling or golden retrievers jumping up and down, chasing tennis balls in fields of hay, or funny things kids say, or it's your favorite Spotify playlist, right? Again, not your breakup playlist, not your teen angst when you were cutting yourself playlist. It's not that. It's your power anthem. I got this. I can kind of, kick the world's behind playlist. So that's That's it. And then we're doing a series of every 5 seconds. In this 30 seconds, every 5 seconds, the therapist says blink. And we'll talk about that. And all that does is it splits your 30-second exposure to your calm scene into little bitty baby calm scenes, little bitty short calm scenes. So we're bringing a tiny piece of the memory into working memory, and you're sitting with experience, 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 experience of a disconfirming state that are showing your predictive brain that that little piece of the memory that we just brought into working memory isn't happening right here, right now. Why? Because it's not happening in my sensory apparatus, and it's not happening anywhere in my whole interoceptive state. We'll cover that in a little while. But in short, we're glancing at the memory lightning fast. We are not processing the memory. We're processing a tiny slice of the memory at a time. Okay. By the way, in EMDR therapy, this is Shapiro's metaphor, right? A comb with like aspects. In EMDR, we're processing the memory an aspect at a time, but the slices are much bigger in EMDR therapy than they are in Flash. They're paper thin in Flash. Okay. Again, we're not processing the memory as a whole. We're processing. The metaphor I use is imagine this is the memory. The memory is going to stay in your brain where trauma is stored. Okay. And we're processing a single bean of that metaphorical beanbag at a time. Okay. Does that make sense? Now, we're so used to thinking the moment we think about a memory, we bring it into working memory. We're going out of our way not to talk about this memory. We're going out of our way not to tell any trauma narratives, for the client not to even think about it very much, because it's going to show up in working memory. And we're trying to process it a bean, a little micro slice at a time. You tell a trauma narrative, it's right here. How are you going to bring a little piece of it into working memory if it's already in working memory? But we'll cover that. The 6 steps, I'm just going to run through them. The first step is we develop a container because all distress is moving away from us. The distress that we activate when glancing at that memory really, really quickly is moving away from us. So if we're putting every little piece of distress that comes out each time we glance at the memory in a container, we need to develop the container. And if the client is sitting in a pleasant scene throughout Flash, we need to develop the pleasant scene. And really, that is a YouTube video or a Spotify playlist. Or if you have a dog or a cat that you like, don't do this with dogs or cats that you hate, right? You need to do it with an animal that's lovey, that's gonna like your attention, right? You can pet a dog while doing Flash. But really, I know many of you are EMDR out there, so I already have my calm scene. We're not using that calm scene. We're developing a new calm scene, ideally something on YouTube. Okay. So we're finding it. Now, the third step, once we have these two things in place, there are also other resources that we're going to cover. We're going to cover grounding, and we're going to cover a vacuum resource that quickly gets the stress out of your body. But once those step one and step two, with those 4 resources in place, now we're ready to get going. And now here's the trick. We're going to select the memory. We're going to have the client select the memory, but they're not going to tell us much about it. Does that sound difficult? It kind of is. Okay, so here's language for that. Helen, the memory you talked about last time, maybe wanting to work on today, is that the memory you'd like to work on today? Okay, good. Do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea today? Check. Yeah, okay, good. If that's good, just push it out of your awareness. Let me know when it's gone. Look at a ceiling, look at a blank wall if you need to. Let me know when it's gone. Okay, good. You see what we did there? We pre-selected the memory in a prior session, right? So you could do this. You could do this. You could do this. You could do a target sequence plan in a prior session. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can say, Is there a memory you thought you may want to work on today? Yeah, good. Is it an individual memory that happened at a particular place and time? Because I don't want it to be a theme. I just want to make sure it's an individual memory. Good. Do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea today? Check. Good. If so, push it out of your awareness. Look at a blank wall. Look at a ceiling if you need to. Let me know when it's gone. Do you see what we did there? And if that sounds haphazard, with people with complex trauma, I'm going to ask you one question. What were you going to do in that session more important than a client resolving a memory that they have identified is important to them? I mean, what were you going to do more important than that? So a lot of times in Flash, I am at least partially blind to what the client's working on. I'm okay with that. Are y'all okay with that? Right? They need to heal. I'm okay with that. You know when they're going to be able to tell you? When this is all over. They'll be able to tell you you could put that in your notes. Okay, good. So step 4, after we identify the memory, push it out of your awareness, load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. They push play on YouTube and it plays the whole session. Their calm scene just playing the whole session. And we're talking over it. And they're looking at me when I'm, in the check-in. And then when they're done, they look right back at their YouTube video. Okay. Load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. And then I say blink roughly every 5 seconds. Okay. And that sounds like good. Load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Client nods. Blink. They can blink a couple times really quickly. Blink one time for about half a second just to blank it out. And we're going into our calm scene again. Blink. 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 And blink. Pause at the end. Let them be in their calm scene that 6th time. Good. How did that go? And how did that go? I mean, were you able to find your way into the calm scene, even though I kept getting you to blink out of it? Okay, good. So what the blinks do, I'm going to say this multiple times. What the blinks do is they split a single 30-second exposure to your pleasant scene into 6 individual 5-second pleasant scenes. The blink split a single exposure to your pleasant scene into 6 mini pleasant scenes. Because one of the things that Flash teaches us is it's not the quality or the length of the pleasant information that matters. It's the sheer number of exposures to it that help shift this memory quickly. We'll cover this again in a little bit more detail in a while. And then after that, after we're in our calm scene, guess what we're doing? We're checking the memory lightning fast. Lightning fast, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. And again, I invite you to do that with me. like, let's just send it away, right? Notice that somatically, what that feels like, right? Send it away. Distress is moving away from us in this version of Flash. And if you're a somatic practitioner and you don't like that, I'm a somatic practitioner and I need my clients to heal, right? So again, we're doing this as a gateway to perhaps doing deeper, more comprehensive trauma work, but this is letting us start treating the presenting issue, typically second, third, fourth session. Okay. Way before you have time to get clients with complex trauma in their bodies enough to notice, period. Okay. So we think about the memory lightning fast, whatever comes out, we catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, you know what we do? Calm scene. We're back in step 4. Load up your calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. Very quickly. Think about, so we're in a loop from step 5 to step 4. Microactivate container, calm scene blinks. Microactivate container, calm scene blinks. We do this for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, however long it takes until the client says they take a look at the memory. And after you've been looking at it for a few rounds, it gets harder to find what's distressing in it, right? It's almost like the pressure in our water hose starts to decrease, right? And stuff isn't flying out at you like, you know, at a high velocity. So they start to look at the memory and it takes them longer and longer and longer to find what's distressing. And it's almost like a door to a scary room where they can stand in the doorway and they don't really see anything disturbing. That's when we go to step 6, where I say, play the memory from the very first frame. Let me know when you find the first piece of distress with one hand, and we're going to immediately contain it with the other. Okay, so they're playing the memory and their heads, often their heads turn. And I can tell where they are in the memory, like how it's almost like they're reading, they're like reading a very long piece of text. And they go, catch it, right, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. Good. Load up your calm scene. Now we're doing our calm scene with blinks again. So every single time we activate, we catch it, contain it, send it away. Every single time after that, we do calm scene with blinks. So now we're in a step 6, step 4 loop, and they're walking through the video, digesting each piece of distress as it comes up. And we're not done until you can play the whole video and there's no distress on any channel. When you do that, that memory's resolved in this version of Flash. When you can play the whole video of the bad memory and there's no distress on any channel, there will be a positive belief that they believe about themselves already present. So the step 6, step 4 loop is the equivalent of phases 5 and 6 in EMDR therapy. Okay, cleaning out debris is going to leave the client with a resolved memory, fully resolved memory, where all parts of them will believe that that memory is over. It will be experienced by their nervous system and all of their parts as over and not happening here. Okay. There will be a more positive belief about themselves that they believe pretty strongly. And this memory that they resolved will generalize in the memory network, probably not as broadly as in EMDR therapy, but I don't care. We're just trying to do trauma work somehow. Generalization occurs. Do you know how I know? Because we've lined up targets and we work on one, and 3 of them we don't have to touch because the resolution of the first one resolved the ones that we had on our target list. Okay. That is a super, super fast turbo overview. We're going to go through it much slower in a moment. What questions do you have just about this super quick overview? Yes.
Uh, these 6 steps, have you mentioned them on the links that you have sent, like the details of it?
Yes, if you click the link, the live link, the very first link is the PowerPoint. And that is in the
Okay.
PowerPoint on slide, I think the fifth or sixth slide. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
wanted to know because I'm taking notes and it's can't write fast enough. So I just wanted to
Yes.
know that that's available. Yeah.
Yes. Good. Questions? If it sounds like we are spinning our poor clients around by like having them do this and having to do that, so much so that they're so dizzy that they don't even know what the heck the memory was that we're starting with. I get why it feels that way and sounds that way, but that's not what we're doing. Okay. And we're going to talk about some thoughts about working mechanism where hopefully this makes sense. Because I know it's bizarre. It must sound bizarre. Think about a memory lightning quickly, and then have a whole bunch of experience. It sounds like, are we substituting? Are we merging things together? Are we trying to form new associations? And no, clients are literally processing the memory a micro slice at a time. Okay. All right. Um, what in the world is going on here? Let's cover our kind of thoughts or theories about what's going on here. So I don't mean to, kind of remind you of your college theory class. Remember the counseling theories where you kind of have to, right? But one of the questions in that class is how do we heal, right? How do we heal? Well, how do we heal from what? How do we heal from trauma? So trauma, we can anticipate, it makes sense to us as trauma therapists that we're wounded experientially. Does that make sense? We're wounded experientially. Even neglect is wounding absent the experiences that should be happening, but it's still experiences, right? Does it make sense that we're wounded experientially? Does it also make sense that we heal experientially? Have you seen that in EMDR therapy, where the client's sitting there and their jaw drops and they say something like, "Oh, I was just a child," and we're like, yeah, right, yeah. But for them, it's a wow. It's like, it's just like this realization, right? And then that's the experience of the difficult stuff in the memory connecting with the adaptive stuff that's already in you, right? So one of the things that I think we can learn in EMDR, even from the AIP model, is that we heal across experiential mismatch, right? When stuff, the way that memory feels connects with the information that part of you already knows. So we heal across experiential mismatch. Okay. So one of the therapists that's kind of articulated this, I would, in some ways, I'd argue the clearest, but in other ways, in really, really frustrating ways, is Bruce Ecker. And what Bruce Ecker says, and we'll kind of circle around and talk about it a tiny bit. What Bruce Ecker says, if you want to resolve something, really, Bruce Ecker's interested in changing whole schemas all at once. But if you want to resolve wounding, activate a piece of something and then have the client sit with an experience. It's important that it's an experience that disconfirms the expectation in that memory. Okay. So activate something and then sit with an experience that shows that the schema in that bad memory isn't true experientially. Okay. Sensible? Now, the problem is that Bruce Ecker says, hey, this is what's going on in EMDR. This is what's going on in his coherence therapy. This is what's going on in every transformational trauma therapy that we've got. But what's annoying about Bruce Ecker is he says, only I do it the best way, right? So if it's not coherence therapy, he's not really interested in having, too many conversations about it. But but I think he's on to something. And if you think about it, it's one of the ways that we already understood how humans heal. Right. So Bruce Ecker looked at counseling sessions across long periods of time and explored what was transformational when clients reported that they had big eureka transformational moments. That's what he found. This is when they actually have an experience in the present moment that is different than what they had activated. Also, one of the most quoted lines in Van der Kolk, and I don't mean to quote a bunch of white dudes, right? But one of the most quoted lines in Van der Kolk's Body Keeps the Score is that in order to heal, we need to have experiences. And again, experiences like in bold, italicized, that's the word there. Experiences that deeply and viscerally contradict the helplessness, rage, collapse generated by the trauma. Okay. So what I would ask is, when you've gotten past something, how have you gotten past it? Has anybody here had relational wounding? Has that gotten better subsequently to that relational wounding? And I'm only going to argue that it probably got better relationally. It's really hard to heal from relational wounding in ways that aren't relational. So who here does parts work in any capacity? Isn't parts work parts of you having relational experiences with other parts of you that are different than the learning and the trauma? Does that make sense? Is one way to think about what parts work is. Now, we can always send our clients out into the world to try to have new experiences, but when you do that with pervasively traumatized clients, what happens? They tend to have re-traumatizing experiences. Why? Because they date at the level that they think they're worth, and they have friendships at the level that they think they're worth, and ends up resulting in more wounding. So parts work is a way to have relational experiences where parts of you can interact with parts of you that replicate what you needed when you were young, right? Openness, kindness, compassion, empathy, the belief that your drives are are for good reason, right? Or that you're trying to help the system. Okay. So is that sensible? Is anybody here trained in EMDR 2.0? Has heard about EMDR 2.0? Okay, EMDR 2.0, they're trying to maximally activate the trauma. They're trying to like activate the heck out of the trauma, and then they do things that distract you from that activation. And Adjong and Suthi Madison, they what they're saying is that we're disrupting working memory. I don't know whether we're taxing working memory or not, but you know what I know? When you distract people from the activation that you just did to them, they're having an experience that is different than the expectation of the trauma. You watch people doing EMDR 2.0, they're laughing, they're giggling, they're silly, they're like having fun with it. Whether that's disrupting, taxing working memory or not, I don't know, but I know they're having an experience different than the expectation and the trauma. So, so EMDR 2.0, Bruce Ecker's stuff, and then I want to talk about the top level, which is predictive processing. So, those of you who's done trauma trainings in the last, I'd say the last 5 years in any kind of modality, you were probably trained in triune brain, or at least in models of the brain that are highly influenced by triune brain. And triune brain models 50 years old. Can you imagine what we have learned about the human system in the last 50 years? What we've learned about neurological development of mammals, right? From all kinds of sciences. What we've learned about different parts of the brain and even our understandings of how the brain works. So those of you that were trained in like brainstem, limbic brain, neocortex, three different brains sandwiched on top of each other that function largely independent, we have new models. We have newer, more helpful models that that are not likely to be disproven by a simple Google search. Okay, so in these models, in these newer models, they're organizing around the idea of predictive processing. Okay, predictive processing. And instead of our brains are, yes, or our brains or our nervous systems are organized around safety, but really what our nervous system is doing, the brain is in a black box. It's not our experience of it, but the brain is in a black box. And it's trying to construct our current reality all the time. What is happening, what is about to happen. And it's making predictions about our current reality and what's about to happen. Right? So we no longer think of ourselves in the terms of modern neurobiology as seeing the world as it is. We see the world as our brain constructs it for us. Okay? Constructs it for us. So right now, you should have two blind spots in your vision, for instance. You don't see those right now. Do you know why you don't see those right now? Because your brain is filling them in for you all the time without your awareness, right? Literally constructing our reality. So in our predictive processing, and again, there's growing consensus around this is the core thing that our nervous system is doing. It's constructing our reality by making many predictions about what's happening right here. Your nervous system has already predicted the next word I'm going to say. And if I would have ended that by taco, that word, that sentence with taco, there would have been a little prediction error there. Because you've been like, what? so, so, but our nervous system is doing all of this beneath our awareness. Imagine a professional pitcher that throws a ball at 99 miles an hour. The hit batter bats it back at him, straight toward his forehead. That pitcher is using a tiny bit of information from the senses, but is using every single thing he's ever been through at any point in his life related to this context, including using the sound waves coming off the bat a handful of milliseconds before the ball gets there, right? So many things, right? To get this glove here before the ball hits. All of that is way faster than thought, right? The nervous system is literally moving the glove before the pitcher can even have it. And then what happened is largely just a post. It's a post thought rationalization. It's a post act rationalization of what happened. So the point is that our nervous system is constantly constructing our reality. Okay. And it has two sources of data for that. One of those is what's coming in through our exteroceptive senses, right? What are we seeing, hearing, feeling? That's a major clue about what's happening right here, right now, right? We're sensory organisms. Like what is happening right here? But only about 20% of what's forming that reality we think is coming from our senses. The other 80%, and the thing that is getting the ball right here for that pitcher, is coming from your entire interoceptive state. Everything you've ever been through in this context, okay, is being used to construct and answer the question, what is happening right here, right now, and what's about to happen. What's happening, what's about to happen. Okay. 99.9% of these predictions are happening below conscious level. Okay. Just like you weren't contemplating the ending of the sentence a few paragraphs back, a part of you was. Okay. So let's think about this in terms of what we're doing in Flash. We bring a tiny piece of the memory, one that is not, even if that memory is existentially hot, we get such a tiny paper thin slice of it that it doesn't immediately kick us in the chest. It's uncomfortably small, a tiny piece. And you know what we do with it? When we catch it, we contain it and we send it out of awareness. We're sending it out of awareness, but it's in working memory. Not the memory, but that little slice of the memory is in working memory. Do you know what happens when something is in working memory? Our nervous system has to start making predictions about it, right? And you know what prediction we want our nervous system to make? Is that it's not happening right here, right now. Whatever that little piece is that we just brought into working memory, we want our nervous system to make the conclusion that it isn't happening right here, right now. Okay. So how's it going to make that conclusion? It's going to make that conclusion by looking at what's happening in our senses and looking what's happening at our entire interoceptive state. So we bring a tiny piece into working memory, push it out of awareness. This is a major point of confusion for a lot of people because they think that in order for a memory to be resolved, we have to look at it. We have to be looking at it right here, right? And you don't. You don't in EMDR. You look at the memory and then you notice, 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 notice. Does it make sense? You're not thinking about that memory. You're noticing the activation of that memory in EMDR therapy. And in Flash, what we just pushed out of awareness is the piece of the memory that's about to be resolved or mostly resolved in the next round in our 6 exposures to our calm scene with blinks. Okay. So what we're doing is we're bringing a tiny piece of the memory into working memory, and then we're pivoting to pleasant information, which is teaching, which is basically going to update that tiny piece of the memory with the construct. It's not happening right here, right now. That is over. And how do I know it's over? Because it's not happening anywhere in my nervous system. I'm not experiencing it as a threat right here, right now. Therefore, the nervous system can update it, drop it into a little inter-office mail, and send it where normal memory is stored. Okay. And then you know what we do? We do it with the next micro slice and then the next micro slice. So does that make sense? That Flash is a way to do, is a way to have experiential learning. Okay. And you can do this without deeply feeling it at all. What if feeling it? What if feeling it is your nervous system making an uncertain prediction about whether or not it's happening right here, right now? So if that's the case, do you see why if you have distress in your body, we have to stop? Because we want our nervous system to code that memory as over. But if it's happening in your body, it's not experienced as over. Yeah, Stella.
So I get I get that you activate a negative memory and then uh, kind of dis disconfirm it with a positive memory. But the slicing of the positive memory into 5 seconds, what is the science behind that? I mean, why do we slice the positive memory into
Yeah.
5 seconds?
Because one of the things Flash teaches us is that it's not the length of the exposure. It's the large number of individual exposures. So one of the things I've done here in Cleveland is I've explored what happens when you don't blink in Flash. And you know what happens when you don't blink in Flash? The memory still resolves. It just takes 2 hours. And why does it take 2 hours? Because each exposure to disconfirming information lasts 5 times longer. So again, it's the sheer number of exposures that's helping your nervous system reach the conclusion this isn't happening right here, right now. Because not only have I had one experience that shows that it's not, I've had 6. And if there's anything we know about trauma, is that it's not meant, trauma, the brain is not meant to update trauma easily. It needs redundant, compelling evidence that it's not, because this is survival stuff. Okay. So, so what is the evidence that the blinks are doing something? I don't know. What I would argue is that the evidence is that the large number of disconfirming experiences is just updating this memory a little bit at a time. Yeah. We'll talk about the evidence for Flash as growing evidence globally. People are doing research, and I'll be doing some of it in Cleveland in the next few years. Really showing support because I'm trying to develop Flash into a psychotherapy. Right? Because if Flash does what I think it does, what I'm suggesting it does, if you can resolve trauma with minimal distress, that is, and remarkably low risk of decompensation, that is going to change how mental health services are delivered in our lifetime. It is going to. Okay. I mean, if that were a pill, if you could take a pill and you could fully adaptively resolve a memory, that would be one of the biggest advances in psychotherapy in our lifetimes. And maybe we're getting closer with psychedelics. I don't know, but I'm telling you, Flash does that. It resolves memories without you having to get a little bit high, right? Or get a little bit in an altered state. And by the way, psychedelics, what are psychedelics doing? Who works with psychedelics? What are psychedelics doing? I'm telling you, people are having a different experience with the trauma on psychedelics than they were expecting to have. It's the same thing. I'm going to need someone to convince me we heal one way. We heal when we have experiences that disconfirm the expectation and the bad memory. EMDR, Flash, EMDR 2.0, parts work, psychedelics, right? Trauma focused psychedelics. We heal when we have experiences that disconfirm the expectation of the bad memory. I think Bruce Ecker's on to something. He's just, I don't know. Maybe Bruce Ecker will see this and we'll have a conversation about it. But he's laser focused on what he's doing, even though he's spitting out truth. Right. So I'm trying to think more broadly. I'm trying to think, how can we? And again, Flash is literally what Bruce Ecker says. You bring a tiny piece of the memory into working memory, and then you sit with an experience that in your nervous system disconfirms the expectation of the bad memory. So we heal across prediction error. Okay. We heal across experiential mismatch. And I'm telling you, you can heal from horrible stuff by watching kittens on YouTube, if that's your thing. My favorite calm scene I have is a client who brings her favorite deli sandwich to session, wrapped in deli paper, and she's just smelling it the first few rounds. And then after that is crinkling the paper open for a few rounds. And then after that is smelling the sandwich and then cutting it into cubes and then literally consuming her pleasant scene through the whole of the session. And if that sounds weird, you're a trauma therapist. Don't tell me you haven't done weird things in the service of your client's recovery. We'll do almost anything to help them heal. So how does this make sense big picture? I'm trying not to get too much in, I'm trying not to too much into the brain, but I think you're going to be hearing more and more and more about predictive processing because it's becoming the organizing metaphor of our nervous system across many, many, many fields related to neurobiology. Flash approaches in a crisis context. First, you can absolutely use Flash as a crisis intervention. And every time, not every time, but a lot of times when there's adversity in the world, people email me, hey, can you do a Flash training with the, hurricanes in North Carolina and shootings and here and this and war and all this stuff. I'm like, that is a horrible time to learn an approach to something when your community has been impacted by terror. A lot of the people that I train, they have to come back and take the training again because they're not okay, right? If there's this happening in your community and you don't know if you're going to have a house burned down in 2 days, that's not the time for a trauma training. So hopefully things where you are kind of okay, now's the time, right, to do a trauma training. But But when there is crisis in your community and you're using Flash to help manage it, remember how I said the memory is staying in your brain where trauma is stored and we're working a bean at a time? If you just had a major natural disaster, where is the trauma? You're walking in with it in working memory. So do you know what we need to do? We need to ground. Grounding. is going to put that back. It's going to get you a little bit of it's going to get you far enough distance from it to where we can bring a little piece of it in at a time. So if you're working with someone with trauma that just happened, realize that if the whole memory is in working memory, grounding is going to let you do this work. And if you try to do it here, good luck because it's in the body, it's in the nervous system, it's alive in your nervous system. And how's your brain going to make predictions that it's not happening right here if it's in your belly and it's in your chest and it's in your shoulders, and it's in your neck, and it's all in your head all at the same time? So ground, 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 and then do flash in a crisis context. Okay. Questions? Yes, Stella. You're muted.
What is the science behind stopping at 6 exposures? Why don't we do more and more exposures
Yeah.
before we check the negative memory?
Yeah. Good question. I think what they found when developing Flash early on is that about 5 seconds seemed to do the trick and about 5 exposures seem to be. I think when Phil Manfield and them were developing it, I think that's just what they discovered. And it's what I find, right? It's what I find too with my clients. I've fiddled with like lengths of sets, and 5 seems to be pretty good. Yeah. Amy. So once some of the research that I'm planning to do in Cleveland is to try to dismantle what the blinks are doing. Okay. Yeah, Amy.
I know you had mentioned, that it's not really a process of catharsis for those clients that maybe do feel like I really feel like I need to feel these emotions, like I
Yeah.
never had them witnessed before. How do you talk to them about this
Yeah.
approach and the benefits of it?
Yeah. One of the things I say is that in any approach to psychotherapy, there's certain kind of rules to it. And maybe if there's a memory that you really, really need to feel, maybe flash isn't the way to work. So one of the things I say is, look, we can get on an airplane in Cleveland and we can fly to San Francisco and we can be there in about 3.5, 4 hours, right? And when we're there, we'll be in our body in San Francisco, but you can't travel with the windows down. Right? That's just what it means to be on United Airlines is that you can't fly with your windows down. You've got to, so different ways of travel make requirements of us, right? So EMDR has requirements that it asks of us, right? Almost every approach, every way that we travel has its requirements. The other requirement is if we're going to do Flash and we're going to fly from Cleveland to San Francisco, we can't just decide that we want to go to St. Louis because we've never been there. Does it make so there's other kind of limits in Flash that we can't do. So one of the things I'll say is so it's a trade-off, but we're attached to catharsis in our healing. And why are we attached to our catharsis in our healing? In part because of popular culture. Right? In parts because the cultures around us. I mean, I don't know, Good Will Hunting. You know what I mean? Prince of Tides. I mean, these movies that have told us you go to therapy and you have this certain type of, catharsis and then you heal. So we've basically been told since Freud and Breuer 130 years ago that you have to really really feel it to heal it, but we're trauma therapists. We work with people who've been feeling it for 45 years and none of it has moved and shifted and changed, right? So we're feeling it in Flash. We're just micro feeling it. We're feeling it the way we feel a hot skillet with a wet finger, right? That's how we're feeling it, right? So we're getting that distress and then cutting that distress into the smallest unit, right? Just that. Again, think about a deli slicer. that's cutting it paper thin, right? That's what we're doing. So one of the things I would say is, what about it? Well, I mean, if you have a client that's like, I really feel like I want to be mad about this. Well, why don't we work on a memory that's gross? Why don't we work on a memory that you don't want to feel? You just want to be done with. So maybe we work with that. But we encounter this in EMDR too. You'll have EMDR clients who will be like, you'll explain EMDR, they'll be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to feel like I'm going to sit in that for 50 minutes at a time. No, I'm not going to do that. But we need to explain that these transformational trauma therapies work because they're different. They work because they're different. Cultural intuitions tell us not only what our wounding is, but they also heavily shape about what deserves treatment. They heavily shape which therapies are woo-woo, which are acceptable, and which are embargoed. So, and by the way, by culture, I mean families, I mean community mental health systems, I mean people who decide EMDR had to bang its head against the evidence-based establishment for 25 years to earn a place at the table. And a whole bunch of people still think it's weird as hell, even though it's one of the most researched approaches to psychotherapy. Any way that's going to work, any therapy that's going to shift how you think about yourself and the world related to a memory in a single session, if there's anything I know about it, it's weird. It's not culturally intuitive. By the way, the same cultures that wound us, the same cultures that fill us with gender and other stereotypes, decide and construct obstacles for how we heal, how we're allowed to heal. And I don't know about you, but doing your own work, and if you can heal without distress, if nothing else, you should do Flash yourself. All of you have stressful jobs. You should do Flash yourself. It's one of the most revolutionary acts an individual can do in the 21st century, which is to reset your own nervous system and heal yourself. So we'll talk about self-administered Flash before we're done. So, okay, what does a reprocessed memory look like? We've already talked about this a little bit. It looks exactly the way a memory resolved in any other transformational trauma therapy looks. It does not mean that the journey is identical. In Cleveland, we get on a plane and we fly to San Francisco. In San Francisco, you will be in your body in San Francisco. If you get in a car and drive, you will be in your body in San Francisco. If you bike and you don't get run over on the way, you will be in your body in San Francisco. But what you would have learned in those different ways of travel is going to be a completely different experience. But in the end, you're in your body in San Francisco, and that's what we want, if that's your goal, right? So zero distress, more adaptive thoughts about yourself and the world related to the memory, and a clear body scan. All of this is present when you can play the memory beginning to end and there's no distress on any channel. My clients resolve whatever we target 95% of the time in a single session. And I'm doing 4 blinks Flash exactly the way I'm training. It's going to take you a little bit of time. You're probably going to see 50%. And then you're probably going to see 70%. And then you're probably going to see 85%. And then after you've done this 40, 50 times, you're probably going to see 95% of the time. Okay. But right now, if you can resolve memories 50% of the time in late May with your client, with having virtually no risk, very, very little risk of decompensation when you do Flash well, 50% of the time is a pretty darn good. That's a pretty darn good margin. And that's going to get dramatically better over the next few weeks of doing this and practicing this well. The memory feels like it happened when it did. It gets inserted into your timeline where it belongs. All of this is familiar if you're an EMDR therapist. None of this is new. I'm just making the point that just because Flash didn't emerge as a way to resolve memories, but as a tool for using EMDR, that doesn't mean you can't use this as a way to fully adaptively resolve memories. What you do with Flash depends on what you're going to get. What you expect out of Flash is going to shape how you do it. And if you're just using it as a tool to lower distress, then memories aren't going to fully resolve. And you're not going to see big shifts in cognitions, just like you don't when you have a SUDS of 2 and you leave it there. Make sense? Intrusive symptoms stop. And generalization and adaptive information also occur. I'm not going to convince you of this. You just need to see it. Ask your clients about it. They'll tell you. Okay, good. Let's run through our step 1 again. Okay, so I'm on the slide. If you're following the slide, step 1, developing, using, and understanding container. So why do we need a container in Flash? Well, let's think about it this way. Imagine a relatively healthy person has a match, and we light this match. You pivot away from it. You activate a relatively healthy person, and you simply pivot away, as we do when we're going to our calm scene. Do you know what happens? That match largely self-extinguishes because you're a relatively healthy person. Okay. Now, somebody with complex trauma, their neural networks may contain hundreds of similarly felt bad memories. And you go to light one of them and you pivot away from it, by the time you turn back to it, you may have caught the bedroom on fire, the house on fire, and half of Chicago in the 1870s may have just burned up that quick, right? So one of the things that this version of Flash is different than other versions is every time we have distress, we're taking proactive measures to move it away from you. Because if we don't move it away from you and you're noticing it, it's likely to grow. It's likely to get worse. Okay. So we think about the memory lightly, quickly. We put it in a container. A container is like an envelope that you don't have to look at it when you're sending it away. It just moves away from you. Okay. And then when it's gone, we immediately pivot to our home scene. So we're going to develop a container. And if you have a container, you have an EMDR container, guess what? That's your EMDR container. We're using this completely differently. So you have multiple things in your bathroom that have bristles. If you're using them for different things, they deserve to be separate objects. Okay? Let your EMDR container be your EMDR container. Let your Flash container be your Flash container. We're using this container probably 40 times in an average session. Every time we think about the memory and get a little slice of it out, it goes into your container and goes out of awareness. Now, what about people? Container is a visualization resource. Does anyone here struggle visualizing? Yes, okay. I'm going to have an accommodation for all of the visual activities in these resources. I'm an accommodation in a minute for all of them. Okay, but do try this as we're doing it. So remember, the container in Flash doesn't have to be huge. Do you know why? We're not containing the memory. We're just containing what came out of the memory when we glanced at it lightning fast. It can be that big. It doesn't have to be the size of the Grand Canyon. So when I say a container that can hold something, what comes to mind? Do you have something that feels like it will work? It can be a box, it can be a mailbox, it can be a cookie jar, it can be a safe, it can be a vault, it can be a file folder, it can be any of those things. Do you have something that comes to mind? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay. Good. I want you to imagine that thing. Really, as best you can, load it into your awareness. What's it made of? What's its color? What's its weight? And how does it open and how does it close? Are you able to imagine that? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay, good. Now, what I invite you to do is think about a business card that's completely blank or a little post-it note. And can you imagine opening up that container, see that empty post-it note go in and close the container? And does it feel like what you just put in there is in there? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. If you're struggling, try it again, unless the problem is a problem of visualization. Right, try it again. Right, you can even watch me do it. So when I get this green post-it note and see it go into your container and then close it, and does it feel like if you were to open that container, you'd see the post-it note inside? Yes, no, maybe? Those of you that are struggling, how are you doing? Still struggling? Okay, we'll have an accommodation in a little while. Okay, so for those of you that this worked, what I want you to do is now imagine that container and now send it away from you almost at the speed of light until it's the tiniest dot beyond the tiniest dot on the horizon. You want to send it far, far away. And if you can't send it away, I need you to zoom away from it, right? We need to get it out of awareness and out of consciousness. Okay. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Struggling is sending it away, the problem. Try it again, right? Try it again. Try to send it as far away as you can. And then if parts of you don't like that, we're going to have to negotiate with that. We have to figure out why. Okay, how'd that go? Still struggling? So? Okay. We'll come back to it. Now, let's imagine a building the size of Costco filled to the ceiling with copies of your empty containers. Nothing in, just brand new empty containers. We want to send the message to your nervous system that every time we need a container, boom, a brand new empty one magically shows up with the door open so that we can close it and send it far away. So there's a nearly infinite supply of containers when we need it. And some clients say, Tom, this feels ecologically irresponsible. And I say, it's just an imagination, SpongeBob. It's okay, right? Just an imagination. Go home and recycle. It'll be fine, right? It's okay. Okay. Good. Those of you that are struggling, we're gonna get back to you in a moment. Okay. Who here, the second resource in step one, who here has used the shop vac or a utility vacuum cleaner or a canister vacuum where you pull the hose off and you use it to clean upholstery? Or who has used a dust buster, or who has used dropped coins into a vacuum cleaner at a car wash? Okay, do you have some memory of a vacuum that you can get in touch with? Okay, and I want you to get the hose in your mind, take the hose off, take any attachments off, and just notice the strength of that vacuum hose. Okay, and then I invite you to scan your body. It's Tuesday. Y'all have stressful jobs. Is there any residual stress? Don't use this with pain, but if there's residual stress, just move it over. Don't let it pull your skin. Just move that hose over wherever that is in your body and see if you can see that stress leave your body and go into that hose. Try it. Again, it's helpful if you put your hands where it needs to be and try to vacuum out any stress. You don't have to get all of it. Okay. How did that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay. Struggling, those of you that are struggling, is it probably because of visualization stuff? What I would ask for the shop vac, what I would ask is if you have stress in your body, how can you get it out quickly? Can you breathe it out? Do you need to get up and wiggle? Can you like scoop it out with your hand and send it away? Like how if you needed to get the stress out of your body, how could you get it out pretty quickly? Do you have resources that can work pretty quickly? If not, we're probably going to need to go to grounding. Okay? Because even people that struggle visualizing can ground typically. Okay. So do you have strategies to get distress out of your body somehow pretty quickly? That's what we need. Shop vac for those people who can visualize, shop vac's pretty quick and powerful. I will give you a little warning that those of you that already do EMDR therapy, you show your EMDR clients shop vac, and they're going to use that in phase 7. They're going to use shop vac to end the session. And it's actually pretty cool. So it's a pretty powerful way to, and I know if we're a somatic practitioner, you need to feel this, you know, but in phase 7, we need to close things down. We need to send the client out the door relatively regulated, and shop vac can be a part of that. Okay. Accommodations. So if you struggle with visualization, I have 50 bean bags in my office that are just like this, different colors. So here's what we do. When we're thinking about the memory, they get a bean bag off the table of a wicker basket that these live in, and then we put the wicker basket across the room. Okay. And then here is our bean bag. The client throws the bean bag up in the air and they catch it. And they think about the memory only when the bean bag is in the air. Okay. And then whatever it is that's distressing in the memory gets associated with the bean bag. And they throw it across the room to that wicker basket. And half the time they miss, that's okay. Right? But you see what we're doing here? Where the activation, whatever it is, gets associated with the bean bag and they throw it. So it's micro activate because gravity is a timer. It's micro activate container. Get the next bean bag, catch it, microactivate container. It tends to work really well for people that struggle visualizing. It also is a way to help make sure that they don't, if you have a client that's really likely to have flashbacks, this, they're thinking about the memory, but what are they doing in the present moment? To catch something, you have to keep your eye on it. So they're staying present, doing motor movements in this moment, and then they're throwing it away. So it's a pretty elegant modification. Try it. If you don't have bean bags or you work through telehealth, do you know what you can do? You can get a piece of paper, tear it into little strips, and make little balls with it and throw those balls in, right? Throw the balls up, catch it, and then throw it across the room toward a trash can. And if you're working with clients, you don't care if they make a mess in their room. They can clean it up. They can clean it up another time. Questions about the step 1 resources of container and shop vac or the accommodations when people struggle visualizing. Okay. Um, Step 2, calm scene. Tom already have a calm scene. No, you have an imaginary calm scene for EMDR therapy. This is not EMDR therapy. So when you heard me describe Flash, it should be obvious this is not EMDR therapy. Flash was developed in an EMDR context. Flash is not EMDR therapy. It's not apple and oranges. It's apple and kittens. They're completely different things. So that in order to do one well, is going to mess up what you need to do the other well. Okay, so Flash is not EMDR light. It's a way to accomplish the same goal, but just like United Airlines and Toyota, they're completely different methods of doing it. Okay. So, Comstein, what is it that if you were in a meeting and you look down at your phone and a video's playing, what is it that's so funny you might burst out laughing and embarrass yourself? Right? For me, I don't know what it is, but it's the dogs in costumes. Have y'all seen dogs that people dress in like waiter costumes and they're carrying bottles of fake champagne or whatever? Dogs in costumes are funny. Power washing videos, whatever type of dog you like, find it. If you like kittens, lovable baby kittens. If you love beaches, beach wave relaxation is going to bring some beautiful, beautiful beach island waves relaxations. You want to really go crazy? Beach island campfire relaxation, right? It's going to bring beautiful, beautiful scenes. Whatever it is, you can do Flash, assess for disordered eating. You can do Flash while watching bubbly hot pizzas come out of the oven. Okay. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to quickly refill my drink because I've been talking all day, but I'm going to give you about 90 seconds to go to YouTube and find something that makes you laugh. If you love The Office, Michael Scott highlight clips, right? Whatever it is you love, find it on YouTube. Whatever shifts how you feel in the present moment, find it on YouTube. I'm going to be back in 90 seconds. All right. How'd that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. You find something? Are you still working on it? Okay. There are two rules to the calm scene, pleasant scene. Well, this isn't a rule. Let me back up. Before I get to the two rules, let me give you a little bit more context. Calm scene's the wrong word. Pleasant scene, funny scene, exciting scene, relaxing scene. All those are synonyms. It doesn't matter. Remember, the experience that you have needs to be different than the experience of the trauma. Okay. So the two rules of the calm scene. Number one, you can change it at any time. And if it gets boring, you have to change it. Why? Because what's healing you is the different experience, is the experience of the calm scene. Okay. The second rule of the calm scene is it cannot in any way intersect with the trauma. Okay. So remember how I said you can use a baby or a dog or you can use a newborn? You can't use a newborn to process pregnancy loss. Does that make sense? You can't use a dog to process the death of a prior pet, right? It's just too complicated. And you can't use a beach scene from Maui if you're here to work on divorce trauma and that's where you honeymooned, right? And even The Office, you may think, oh my gosh, the series The Office, I love it, I love it, I love it. Well, if you're here to work on divorce trauma and you and your ex watched every single episode of The Office, you can't use The Office because one of those clips is going to put you in a memory of y'all watching it 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Good. Questions about the calm/pleasant scene. It just needs to shift how you feel quickly in this moment, at least a little bit. Yes, Stella.
So in the flash technique, we had learned to have positive videos running in our head, like we are imagining being in a calm place or whatever it is. But here you are saying it has to be something concrete, like you're looking at something, so your eyes are engaged in that. Um, I just want to know whether it is an absolute mandatory thing to have something visually there in your hand, or you can do it in your mind.
And again, I'm not trying to control people, but I'm trying to show people how to process with the efficacy that I see, which is 95% of the time, people fully resolve whatever they target in a single session. And my clients, when they process using an outsourced calm scene, process 40% faster than when they try to do an imaginary calm scene. And remember, in this conceptualization, you're not in the calm scene 30 seconds. You're in your calm scene 4 seconds. Do you know why? Because I'm having you blink. And then I'm going to say blink again about 4 seconds after you finished blinking the last time. So who here has a scene that they can load up quickly? Do you have a beach somewhere that you just love? Who here can bring up a scene in your mind quickly? Okay, good. Go, load it up. Okay, stop. Were you able to load up, if it was a beach, were you able to load up the sand, the sky, the seagulls? Were you able to see the waves? Were you able to feel your sand on your feet? Right? Or were you just starting to get in it and I'm taking you out of it? So all you have to do, there 25 million, billion videos on YouTube. There's billions of videos on YouTube. Why make yourself
Hmm.
construct a pleasant experience 300 times in a 40-minute session? That sounds like a lot of mentalization work when you can just open your eyes and it's right there provided for you. Right? We're trying to make Flash as slow pitch of a softball as possible. And what are people, by the way, what are people doing outside of session to manage things? What are we doing? Okay, what are we doing? What are people in the United States doing more than anything, more than sleeping, more than looking at their own children, definitely more than spending time with partners? What are we doing? We're dissociated into a screen. More time than anything else, we're dissociated into a screen. Do you know what that means? There must be something really compelling about that. Okay. It's pretty darn intuitive. Given our ways of navigating life, it's pretty darn easy. We're not imagining calm scenes, right? Right before bed, we're not imagining calm scenes. We're probably watching videos of things that are mildly interesting to distract ourselves from ourselves. So So I'm not trying to control people, but I'm also not trying to encourage people to do something that sounds like a pretty exhausting task that I'm pretty sure is going to slow the process down. So if I have a client that can really imagine a calm scene quickly, fine. But I'm not going to have that be an option for most people, not when there's YouTube that can just provide it for us. Yeah. Or there's Spotify. When you're doing this, if you really love to dance, if that's what like really, you can be off screen and you could be dancing, or you be on screen. I don't care. But um, your favorite Spotify playlist is a fantastic, pleasant scene. Okay. Good. Questions?
So the scene keeps playing on the screen while you flash. So this
Yep.
you're not pausing the scene at all. You're just busy looking at it and
Correct.
then doing your flash.
Correct. And through telehealth, if you're working with someone under about 45, Your telehealth window is one of about 20 windows that are already open. They're going to be able to toggle between you and YouTube really, really easily. What I ask for older clients, and I'm realizing now every time I say that, that I'm apparently in an older demographic. Every freaking year, I'm in an older demographic. I don't know if anybody here can can recognize that, but yeah. So what I say is, how do you feel about your TV remote? And if the client starts grumbling, meaning if you can't work a remote for your TV, then I'm going to screen share your calm scene for you. I'm going to find that video, I'm going to have it bookmarked, and I'm going to screen share it for you. And I'm going to talk right over the screen share and navigate through this. So yeah, the video plays the whole time. The client's just through telehealth or in my office, the video plays the whole time. When I'm doing step 5 and we're activating the memory, they're just looking at me. And when we're done, they're looking right back at their video. So it's just task switching, right? From activation to calm scene, activation to calm scene. If it's annoying, the client can pause the calm scene while we're doing our check-in, but 90% of people are able to do it just fine. The sound plays typically, unless the sound's annoying, right? The sound plays. And by the way, you shouldn't do a calm scene where the sound is annoying. Find one that works for you. And when you're watching a beautiful beach with waves coming in, you want to hear the waves, right? Don't you? Wouldn't a beach be weird if you were on the beach and the waves were completely silent? So, yeah. Okay. Okay, we're teaching sensory grounding next. If you want to go get your grounding objects, feel free to. Go get your essential oils or your candle or whatever you need. If you have a drink with you, that's good. Yeah. All right. So grounding, we need grounding in place, don't we? Because can you imagine you're going to ask the client to think about the memory. The memory might just grab them and pull them in it. That happens sometimes in trauma work, doesn't it? We're asking them to think about a memory quickly. The memory might just grab them and pull them in it. So we need grounding in order to do trauma work in relatively safe and effective ways. Okay. So, by the way, do you know when the time to teach grounding isn't? When you really, really need it, right? So the time to teach grounding, hardest time to teach grounding is in the middle of a flashback. You want it to already be in their nervous system. Okay. So this is a very fast grounding exercise where we're going to check the senses only for a few seconds each. So the whole exercise should be done in about 40 seconds the first time we do it. We can always stretch it out, but many times with people with complex trauma, our resources are way too slow and way too spacious for their nervous system. So we're going to be very brief, very concrete about what we're asking them to do. So good. I invite you, and there's scripts for all of these in the treatment guide. The treatment guide is in the live file that's in chat. So I invite you to look around your current room and notice whatever you see. Notice the color of each object and notice if you were to touch it, would it be hard or soft or some other texture? Good. If you have a piece of furniture near you, just touch that furniture and notice, is it warmer, cooler, or the same temperature as your hand? Good. I'm going to be very quiet. Notice whatever you hear in order of loudest first. Good. If you have something near you that has a smell, please feel free to engage in that. If you have something near you that has a taste, feel free to engage in that. Okay, good. How'd that go? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Grounding, when you do it in a really fast way, tends to be pretty tolerable for most people. Even though we did it really, really fast, did it let you feel a little bit more connected to your current space? Which of the senses was the most anchoring for you? Can you identify? Because if you're having a flashback, that's the sense I want to start with. And I'm going to do grounding until all parts of you know where you are, right? We're going to ground until all parts of you recognize where you are, right? Even if we have to check your shoes. Are your shoes the shoes of a grown-up? Are they the shoes of a kid, right? We're going to really, really make sure that all parts of you know that you're in 2025. And we're not going to go forward until you do. Questions? Those are our 4 resources. Okay, container, shop vac, calm scene, pleasant scene, and grounding. Those are the resources that we need to do this work safely. Okay, so we teach all of these resources before we do any step 3 and beyond in the 4 blinks version of Flash. Questions? Questions about the resources? Yeah, Diana.
I have
So
one
we,
question.
Diana, hold 1 second. Diana and then Stella.
Oh, sorry. Um, okay, I'm a little lost in the comm scene, like how I would guide somebody to pick one. The types of comm scene examples that you gave for me were like some of them were very different from each other. I found myself like imagining my baby and then imagining like a comedy show or something, right? It's just a very different vibe. So I'm wondering like how, if a client is a little bit lost, I'm like, what kind of comm scene do I pick? Do I pick the sandwich or this? How are you helping
Yeah.
them for their particular
Questions I
client?
ask is, what is the last meme you shared? What's the last video that you ever sent to a family member because you thought it was funny or relaxing or silly or whatever? That's an entryway. What's the last time when you are scrolling in social media that you found yourself out loud laughing about something? That's a clue, right? What is it that's so cute or funny or lovey that you feel like you could just watch it all day and not get bored with it? Okay. Those are some questions, right? And again, what is it? Ultimately, it's what is it that you love? And people, my clients, I mean, my clients are curmudgeon. I mean, my clients are not, they're like, I hate people. I'm like, okay, I hear you. What do you like? I
Mhm.
like apple pie. I don't know. We find videos about apple pies. It doesn't matter. It just needs to shift how you feel in the present moment. Now, related to the calm scene, is Flash going to work if you're completely emotionally dead? Why? Because you can't, and it's not going to work because you can't activate. It's going to work because you can't have a disconfirming experience. If you're completely emotionally dead, experientially, you're dead. You can't have experiences where you feel disconfirming things. So, yeah,
Okay, thanks.
people who are completely and totally emotionally dead probably aren't coming to therapy unless they're being drugged there, dragged there by somebody. Questions? Stella.
yeah. So in when you were taking us through that sensory grounding, you made us use all our senses. And then you asked whichever one was the most grounding. So this is how we are going to do it with the clients as well. They will choose whichever one grounded them the most, and that's the only one we will use in no. Yeah.
No, that's the one we're going to start with. So when they're having a flashback, if for them touch was the most grounding, the first sense I'm going to have them do is touch.
Hmm.
to manage a flashback, they're going to use which of their senses was the most powerful. I'm not going to start with the weakest of them. I want to start with the most powerful of the
Right.
senses.
But you will lead them
Yeah,
through
absolutely.
all the five senses.
Probably. Yeah,
Starting with,
unless I know one of them has no charge for them at all, has is not helpful for them at all. Yeah. Yeah, we'll
okay,
use all of the senses
right. So
for
this
most people.
preparatory work has to happen before, maybe a session before we go into
Yeah.
Foblings.
All four of the resources should be taught before you do step 3 the first time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
Yeah. And what you're going to find is that the vast, vast, vast majority of the clients can do these resources because you're like, well, I have all kinds of clients that can't do calm, safe space. Have you outsourced it to a video on YouTube? My hunch is that unless your client has, something going on, right? And what about people that have vision impairments? Do they like music? There's Spotify. If not YouTube, there's Spotify. Or on YouTube, there may be playlists of their favorite music. We need to find it. Okay. Okay. Step 3. Again, there's not a lot to say about step 3 other than select the memory. It's like we're pointing at the memory, but we're trying to not snap the mousetrap of the memory. Right? With trauma, if there's a set mousetrap over here, just pointing at it wants to pull our finger to snap it. So we're being careful to point at it, but not open it up. So like a file on your desktop, we're left clicking once on the file. We're selecting it, but we're not opening it up. We're not playing the file in step 3. We're just pointing at it and then quickly moving on. There's there's not really we have to select the memory, don't we? So we have to at least point at it, but we need to be careful not to, because if they start telling us about it, it's going to find its way into working memory. You do not want the client to give you a trauma narrative before you try to do flash. We're trying to process it a micro slice at a time, and telling me more than a half of a sentence about it is probably going to bring a lot of it into working memory. And by the way, if you bring all of that into working memory, do you know what you've also done? You've also brought the distress that is in that into your nervous system, which do you know what that is? That's prediction confirmation rather than prediction error. Because now you're feeling the way you always feel when this piece of memory is in working memory. And what's healing you is feeling different than the way you always feel. That's prediction error. Again, when our experience is an experiential mismatch of what some part of us is expecting to have happen. So, yeah. So again, select the memory, don't activate it. You do want to check and make sure that it is an individual memory. And while we haven't covered it in detail, when you look at the scripts, every step in this version of Flash is part-centric. Does this container work for all parts of you? Does this pleasant scene work for all parts of you? We're developing parallel resources for other parts, and we're doing the calm scene of the majority of parts, right? If the biggest group of your parts can consent to this calm scene, that's the one that's playing. Your other parts can be engaging in their own imaginary calm scenes. For those of you that work with clients that have systems.
Quick question,
Yes.
Tom. So when we're picking the individual memory, in EMDR, we pick like the worst part of an incident, right, as our memory. So is this similar like rape? Would we pick the worst part of that rape or the memory of the rape as a whole?
We're not controlling what are directing the client. We're just having them look at the memory, and whatever piece of it comes out, that's the piece that we access. By the way, do you know what selecting the worst part is in phase 3 of EMDR therapy? It's activating. And I'm trying not to activate you. By the way, there's no SUDS in this version of Flash. Do you know? And again, those of you that aren't EMDR therapists, the SUDS is the rating of distress on a 0 to 10 scale. There's no SUDS in this version of Flash. Do you know why? That's an activation strategy. Remember, we're trying to leave the memory in your brain. But if you check the SUDS, I'm asking you to hold it in awareness. How much junk still remains in it? And now we're going to put it back over there as though we didn't just touch it. You don't need to know. But how do I know this is working? That is a question about therapist, illusion of control, more than it is about anything that's helpful related to the client. You don't need to know. What you need to know is that they're doing what you're asking them to do, and that memory is likely to move in a positive direction. If you're constantly trying to micromanage things, that's a problem. If they're doing what you're asking them to do, trust that this is moving in a positive direction. And you don't need to know. You don't need to know. You don't need to know what they're working on. You don't need to know how much distress remains in it. How do I know when we go to step 6, the videotape? Well, you're asking them. Think about the bad memory. Whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When they can't do that, they're going to tell you because you just gave them a direct instruction that they can't do. They're going to tell you. And if you think they're getting near the end one time, you can say, let me know when you're having trouble finding what's distressing in the memory. Don't do it every time. That's also about therapist insecurity and illusion of control. If you were doing Flash and I was asking you, let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're done. Let me know when you're done. Wouldn't you get in your own head about why am I not done? Again, give clients instruction and stay out of their way. Stay out of their way. Let them do this. It's going to be okay. In other versions of Flash, there's slow bilateral. In this version of Flash, there's not. Why is there no slow bilateral? Because what's healing you is the disconfirming information in your calm scene. How is slow bilateral in this version of Flash doing that? And people are saying, well, maybe it's taxing working memory. That's not the working mechanism in this version of Flash. Experiential healing is. And I'll tell you, I've never one time done Flash with bilateral stimulation, and my clients have resolved whatever they target 95% of the time in a single session. So if it's such an important element, why can we do it with such regularity without it? But EMDR therapists, just like they love their SUDs, EMDR therapists love their SUDs. They love their, but I like bilateral. I'm like, okay, some people like Yankee Doodle. You can have your client hum Yankee Doodle, but it's not going to help them get into their calm scene over and over and over, right? So again, this version of Flash is built around a very specific understanding about how humans heal. And the things that are relevant to that are strengthened. And the things that are not relevant to that understanding of healing are removed. So different versions of Flash may use different working mechanisms, right? May tie in to different branches of healing. But I'm telling you, left-right stimulation can't be essential if you can do it 19 times out of 20 without it. By the way, 19 times out of 20, and by the way, I say 95% of the time, that's an underestimate. That's a low estimate for my clients. That alone should be a freaking mic drop. Could you imagine doing EMDR? I mean, EMDR is amazing. I love it, but you don't see 19 out of 20 memories resolved with people with complex trauma in EMDR therapy. You just don't. So I don't know. Flash resolves things. Okay. Most of the session is in the step 5, step 4 loop. Lightly activate. Look at the memory lightning quick. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Load up your calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. Pause. Good. How did that go? Were you able to find your way into the calm scene? That's what I need to know. Guess what? If distress, let's get to the kind of bigger rules of Flash. If distress is coming, stop. That's the biggest rule. If the stress is coming, stop. Why? Because it's about to shape the predictions that your brain is making. And if the stress is in your body, if it's in your nervous system isn't going to make the prediction that it's over. It's going to make the prediction that it might be happening right here, right now. And if it's happening in your nervous system, it's happening right here, right now. So if distress is coming, stop. Use one of the 4 resources to deal with that distress. If a lot of distress comes, start with grounding. It's the most powerful resource we have. Then maybe shot back, right? For some people, right? Then maybe container. Okay. If distress is coming, stop. If you're in your calm scene and you have this beautiful YouTube video and then beep, 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 a little bit of the memory comes in, what do you think you do? You stop, you catch it, you contain it, and you send it 1,000,000 miles further away than you sent it last time. Send it out of the solar system. Send it beyond the planet formerly known, or the object formerly known as the planet Pluto. Right? Send it far, 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 far away. Okay? So far away that there's not time for it to show up in the next round of your calm scene. And then we're in the step 5, step 4 loop until you can't find what's distressing in that memory in this moment easily. It's taken you a lot of time. And I had a client where they seemed to be doing what I was asking them to do, but it was taking them like 15 seconds to contain. And I'm like, what's going on here? And the client says, my container has a 12-digit code. And I'm like, no, 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 no. The container needs to come with the door open. You slam it closed and send it far, far away, right? The containment should not have to require digital signatures or combinations or any of those things. You need to be able, again, here's the metaphor. Those of you old enough to remember hot potato as a metaphor, right? The moment the potato hits your hand, you have one job. What is it? Move it away from you. The distress is always moving away from you in Flash. So there is activation. There's activation like like a wet finger on a hot skillet, right? There's that. There's activation, but it's micro activation. Step 5, step 4, step 5, step 4, step 5, step 4. This may take 40 rounds. Okay. 40, 30-second plus however long it takes. How did that go? Right? That kind of, and then very quickly think about the bad memory, right? Maybe 45 seconds, 40 rounds, 45 seconds each. It's going to get you roughly about 30, 35 minutes. Different people, depending on the size of the memory, some people, when I do this, some therapists resolve whatever they target in about 12 minutes. Some don't resolve it in the 30 minutes that we give them in this demo, and that's okay. But even in 30 minutes, you'll notice that parts of it are losing its distress. Now, we do this until the client can't find distress in the memory easily, and then we do the video. So it's like it's almost like, again, I need to look it up and write it down on my darn wall. It's either Poltergeist or Exorcist where the girl's in the bed and the stuff's flying around. Remember that movie that terrorized the generations of us in the 80s? It's almost like that freaky room settled down and everything's quiet. And then we walk into the room and we look under the couch cushions and we pull back the couch and it's like, they're still alive, and we catch it and contain it, send it far away. So what we're doing is we're playing the video of the bad memory from the first frame. And I say, let me know with one hand the moment you find distress, and we're going to contain it with the other. On the subject of movies that didn't stand up well in time, remember Karate Kid, where he's like doing the whole whack so that it becomes a body movement? When activation comes, the moment activation shows up, we're already moving it away. So identifying the activation and containing it are part of the same motion. Make sense? Again, think hot potato. Think the moment activation shows, it's moving away from us. Okay, so language for that is play the memory from the very first frame. Let me know when you find the first piece of it with one hand. We're going to contain it with the other. Play it. Good. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Okay, they're in their calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. That piece of the memory that just had distress in it, is there any distress in it in this moment? Yeah, a tiny bit. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. Calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. That piece of the memory that just had distress in it, is there any distress in it in this moment? No. Play the memory forward. Let me know when you find the next piece of distress. Got it. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Let me know when it's gone. Good. Calm scene. Blink, 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 blink. How did that go? Good. That piece of the memory that just had distress in it, is there any distress in it in this moment? No. Play the memory forward. I just got to the end of the memory. Good. Turn up your sensitivity and play it again. And let me know even if you find a 0.5 or a 0.25. No. No. And again, I have a client that's well into her 70s that every session goes, wow, I think we did another one. Right? So it's really, really, really cool. So when you can play the memory and there's no distress on any channel, we're done with that memory. Forever. Done. And while it is theoretically possible that more distress might come, it's very, very rare that that happens. Okay? So unlike EMDR, which, because distress is moving in our bodies, we may spread embers in EMDR therapy that might show up as distress days after. Flash isn't associated with that type of heartburn because we never set the body on fire to begin with, right? You never experience the memory strongly in your body to begin with. Now, this requires that clients understand this. Because if they're activating, and they're not telling you, oh, I'm good, and they're not telling you, do you know what the nervous system might do? Your nervous system, remember, we're trying to shape the prediction that what we brought into working memory isn't happening right here, right now. Your nervous system might make the conclusion that all of this is trauma, and it might flag your pleasant scene as a trauma trigger. And your pleasant scene might become a trauma trigger forever. Don't do that, right? Don't let your clients do that. Number one rule, if distress is coming, stop. We do not push into distress, not 1 ounce. Now, my clients are stressed all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. I work all the time with clients who have an allostatic load of 8.5 out of 10, all of the time. And they still resolve whatever we target in Flash 95% of the time in a single session. Why? It's the distress from the memory that I care about. It's not your baseline. If you have 1 ounce of distress from that memory in your body, we are going to stop, contain it, move it away from you, and we're going to ground if the distress is bad enough. Distress in the body is confirmation to your predictive system. It's not disconfirmation, and we heal across prediction error. Questions? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
So the last piece that you just described, it was um, go through the scenes, everything until they say that there is no distress. Do you have a script for that, or
Yeah,
we
it's step
just
6
okay,
in
okay,
in the treatment guide. Yep,
okay.
which is in the live file. Yeah.
And then what happens to PC? Do we do a PC, or how do we close this?
You don't have to do a positive cognition. You can ask them, and I strongly encourage you to too. Is there something that you believe more strongly about yourself related to this memory than before you started working on it? And they're going to tell you yes. And you can ask them what it is, and they're going to tell you. And you can ask them, how strongly do you believe that? And they're going to tell you that they believe it very strongly. So let's think about what's happening here. So you may be like, wait a minute, I thought only EMDR did that. No, healing does that. Healing shifts how you think about yourself in the world. That's a fair amount of what healing is. So if it hasn't shifted how you think about yourself in the world, there's more work to do. So by the time you get to the end, your clients will have already installed in their nervous system that positive belief because they've resolved the memory. Resolving the memory shifts how you think about yourself in the world. Resolving memory, wait a minute, I thought only EMDR caused generalization. No, resolving memories cause generalization. EMDR is a great way to resolve memories that can produce broad generalization. So we don't focus on cognitions in Flash because, number one, why do we focus on cognitions in phase 3 of EMDR? It's initially to get metrics, but I'm telling you, that negative cognition's activating. We're using it to activate you in phase 3. That negative, when you put together that scene, that negative cognition, and that body state, what are you noticing, right? We're like poke, 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 poke in EMDR. We're not trying to do that in Flash, right? We're trying to heal by processing the information as information. We're not trying to heal by processing the information as distress. And in EMDR, we're trying to process the information, at least initially, as distress. Yeah.
So we are well if with the kind of different kind of scans you said, maybe the when you're going through those steps of different parts of the memory and they find distress, then we are doing something to get rid of that distress, whatever grounding exercise we use, whatever exercise we use.
No, when we're walking through the video and they find distress, we're not grounding unless that distress is very big, right? We're stopping, we're catching it, we're putting it in the container, and we're sending far, far away. So we're doing the same thing in step 6 when we find distress, which is catch container, send it far, far away.
Hmm.
That's our default. Now, if they're saying, I can't, because they looked at the memory and they were expecting this to come out, but what came out was a London street bus that feels like it's on their chest, then we're going to ground because that's not going to be easy to contain. So here's the thing. When clients are working with trauma, sometimes they're going to overactivate. It's just going to hit the body. That's why we have grounding. That's why we have shop vac. So overactivation is not a problem in and of itself because it's going to happen. But when it happens, we have to stop and deal with it. And if it happens back to back, do you know what I'm going to do? Do you know how we manage overactivation? Is we look at the memory faster next time. So if the client is overactivating, next time I want you to look at that memory 100 times faster. You looked at it way too long last time. So if it wham hits the body, that means you looked at it too long. You need to look at it much, much, much less, much, much, much faster next time. But for now, we're going to catch it. We're going to catch the distress, contain it, send it far, far away. Or we're going to ground, or we're going to do whatever we need to do. But you don't body, 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 round after round after round, and not do something to prevent that from keeping happening. Because that's a recipe for Flash not to work.
So there
Okay?
is no body scan and there's no PC anchoring.
Nope,
There is none of that.
none of
When
that.
they say it doesn't distress me anymore, you take them at face value and that's the end. How do you close that session?
I say you have 4 resources that I've seen you do very well. You have 4 resources, use them between sessions if you need to. Yeah, send them home to use their resources. Again, Flash doesn't typically have the kind of emotional heartburn. Do you know how we say reprocessing may continue in EMDR therapy? What we also mean is that whatever you feel right now that sucks, you're probably going to be feeling that for a good while. In Flash, you don't. You leave session typically feeling not worn out. You leave session not exhausted. And the times when you actually may be exhausted is when you're using an imaginary calm scene. Because the imaginary calm scene, you have to make it hundreds of times. That can be mentally exhausting to make your calm scene hundreds of times. Because every time you blinked it out. You got to now make it again,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Okay. It's 17 after, take a 5-minute break, and then come back at 22 after. In chat, there's a safety sheet to just have and reference if you need. I do want to talk about where this version of Flash breaks, and you probably already guessed it. Microactivation is very difficult, isn't it? Thinking about just a single frame of something awful, trauma doesn't want to come out that way. So microactivation is difficult. Problems with containment usually float back to problems of overactivation. So if clients are having a hard time containing, suspect overactivation if you verified that they can put the slip of paper in, right? If they can contain. By the way, those of you that struggle with containment, just do this. This sends the same message. I'm moving it away from me, right? Sending it away, moving away from me. So when we do this as a group, I'm going to encourage you, right, to send it away with your hand. Use your hand, send it away, right? It sends the message to your nervous system. I'm not thinking about this. I'm not attaching to this. I'm not trying to make sense of it. It's moving away from me. Okay? So if the client's doing what we're asking them to do and things don't seem to be changing, ask, how is your calm scene? Is your pleasant scene still pleasant? No, I got tired of it 15 minutes ago. Change it to something more engaging. And if we're first starting this work and the client has a huge wave of anxiety, you didn't get consent from parts. So at the very beginning of the script, it asks, do all parts of you think working on this memory is a good idea today? Check. I want you to check. Because if not, man, parts exist to protect you from this stuff. I just said, it's 2025. I should not have to hard sell consent. 2025, get consent before we work on parts, before we work on traumas. Parts exist. Their identities are built in part around protecting us from this stuff. So what if a part doesn't consent? Thank you, and ask that part. Are there territories that might be safer for us to work on today? Do you have a suggestion? They may say, why don't you work on Jimmy? Jimmy was a few boyfriends ago. Work on Jimmy. What's wrong with working on Jimmy right today? Do all parts of you think working on Jimmy is a good idea today? Yeah, what memory? When I picked up his phone and I saw that he was a lion, cheating, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. Do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea today? Yeah, good. See, we just selected a memory, even though a part said no to what we had thought. Tips for practicum. We're about to practice this. If the stress comes, stop. Do not go forward. The stress comes, stop. Deal with that distress using one of the resources that we have. If you have difficulty, message me. Pull down to Thomas and message me. I'll be able to type you a response and still keep the group going. If multiple memories want to come, no. In this version of Flash, we work one memory at a time only. In this version of Flash, we work one memory at a time only, period. Not negotiable. Again, airplane, you don't get to stop at St. Louis just because we haven't been there before. Does it make sense? We need to go to St. Louis. Let's go to St. Louis. But this plane is bound for San Francisco. Let's go to San Francisco. And don't just stop at every city we fly over. That's not how airlines work. That's not how Flash works. We work one memory at a time, period. If you can't find distress looking at the memory, I need you to start playing the video and then catch that, contain it, send it far, far away. Okay? And again, if the memory shows up in your calm scene, you know what to do. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Okay? Questions? If distress is coming, do you A, push into the distress and hope that it shifts? Do you B, immediately stop and use a resource to deal with and manage that distress before we go forward? The correct answer is not A. Okay, good questions.
I had a question, but I blanked out.
All right,
Yes,
good. So
about the parts. So when suppose one part doesn't want to work on a particular memory and the presenting part wants to work on it, can that part and all other parts are okay? Can that part kind of sit somewhere where but previously made place or whatever? Can they step aside and wait it out while the others do it, or we have to wait until all parts are ready to work on a particular memory?
I would say, at least when you're starting, make sure that you have a thumbs up from all parts, right?
Mhm.
Some systems that you work with will have curmudgeon parts. And by curmudgeon, I mean parts that don't think anything is a good idea, don't really want you to do anything. It's almost like their identity exists to just go, well, that's stupid. That's not going to work. That's blah, right. So that's how it's been protecting you, is by doing that. We can ask that part, and that part, what consent is going to look like is, yeah, I don't think this is, they're not going to say, I think this is a great idea. What they're going to say is, I think this is stupid. And don't come to me when this doesn't go well to help you clean up the mess. Sometimes that's consent for curmudgeon parts, but when you're first starting, get consent from all parts. Just and I'm not asking parts to step aside, because if a part thinks something isn't a good idea, that has an internal view of the system. I want to find a place that part thinks that we can work safely and tolerably. Okay.
One more question.
Yes, quickly, because we're running out of time for
Okay.
our practicum.
So usually whenever we are working with a memory or a part of a memory, it doesn't just stay with that part. It automatically expands into other aspects of that particular memory. So how do we keep that one slice a slice without it associating with other aspects of the whole memory?
Well, number one, I'm only asking them to look at the memory lightning fast. And if they're in their calm scene looking at the memory, that's not what I'm asking them to do. Right? So the next time you look at the memory, a different piece may come up. This time it's this piece. Next time, next time, next time. And then this piece may come 5 times. And that's okay. And then it may go over here. So whatever comes out in the quick slice, that's what we're working with in this moment. And then that's what goes in the container. Yep.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Good. So what we're going to do is we'll do 2 rounds in the calm scene. And then I'm going to have you select the memory that you want to work on today. And then we're going to do another round in the calm scene. And then I'm going to guide you to microactivate container calm scene blinks. Okay. So we're not selecting the memory for another few minutes. Right now, load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. So give me a nod, give me a thumbs up when you're there, and then we'll get going. Good. Just be present with your pleasant scene. And if you're in your calm scene, really quickly, if you're dealing with distress, come back in when I say load up the calm scene. Don't come back in when I say think about the bad memory, because you just dealt with distress. You're out of sync with me. Come back in when I say load up the calm scene, because I don't want you to activate and then follow that activation by activation. So when you get out of sync with me, and you're likely to, come back in on something pleasant. Don't come back in on the activation part. Okay, good. Load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Good. Blink. You can blink your eyes 1 time for about half a second or a couple of times quickly. Blink, blink, and then go right back into your calm scene. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Y'all doing all right? You're able to find your way into the calm scene? Good. Let's do another round. Load up your calm scene. Let me know when you're there. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Were you able to find your way into the calm scene and have little experiences there? Good. Excellent. Is there a memory that you thought you wanted to work on tonight? And is it an individual memory that happened at a particular place and time? And do all parts of you think working on that memory is a good idea tonight? If so, push it out of awareness, look at a blank wall, look at a ceiling if you need to blank it out. If not, negotiate with your parts and try to find a memory that feels tolerable enough today. Okay, good. When it's gone, calm scene. Just load up your calm scene, be in your calm scene. Blink, go right back into your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How did that go? Y'all doing all right? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Okay, doing all right? If you're struggling, message me. Okay, all right. Are y'all ready to get going? Okay, again, between the claps, this is the speed that we're looking at the bad memory. That quick, right? Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Use your hands, send it away. When it's gone, calm scene. Use your resources if you activated. Okay, when it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How did that go? Were you able to find your way into the calm scene? Good. All right. Excellent. Here we go. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory. Whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing okay? Now's a good time to check your body. Make sure that no distress from that memory is currently in your nervous system. If it is, vacuum it out, ground, container, do whatever you need to get it out of your nervous system. Make sure it's moving away from you. And if you just found distress, that's your content. So come back in on load up your calm scene. Don't come back in on distress. Okay, good. Okay, good. Those of you that didn't find distress in your body, very quickly think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, load up your calm scene. Just be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing all right? Good. If you're having difficulties, message me. Good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing okay? Okay, good. All right, lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this millisecond, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Yep, if distress is showing up in your memory, I mean your calm scene, just stop, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. Good. Blink, Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing all right? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. Doing all right? Okay, good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. All right, very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment. Catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Good time to check your body. Make sure no distress from that memory is hanging out in your body. If it is, use a resource to get it out of awareness. Good. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing all right? Okay, good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory. Whatever's distressing in this millisecond, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Just be in your calm scene. That's your only task. When you're in your calm scene, is to have your experience in the calm scene. Good. Blink. 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 And blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Doing all right? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. So be in your calm scene. Blink. blink, blink, and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Good, you're doing all right. Okay, good. We're going to do this probably about another 10 minutes. If you're finished with your memory, make sure you play your video. Play your video all the way through. If you think you're done, you're not done until you play the video from beginning to end and there's no distress. Okay, but if you're still finding distress when glancing at the memory, let's keep going. Okay, very quickly think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene, and just be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Doing okay? Good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? You're doing all right? Okay, good. Lightning fast. Think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Just be in your calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. About another 5 minutes, okay? Good. If you're done, just hang out in your calm scene. Time will pass. But the rest of you, we're just going to process as much of it as we can, the time that we have remaining. Okay? And again, don't forget to play the video if you think you're done. You're not done until you can play the whole video, the memory, and there's no distress. Okay? Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 Okay, good. How'd that go? Good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. We'll do one more round. Very quickly, think about the bad memory, whatever's distressing in this moment, catch it, contain it, send it far, far away. When it's gone, calm scene. Blink, 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 and blink. Okay, good. How'd that go? Okay, good. How did that go? You're doing all right. Yeah, yeah. What questions do you have? That was that was 25 minutes. So that may not have been nearly enough time to process the memory. For many of you, who was able to kind of fully get through the memory? Was anybody able to fully get through the memory? Good. And for those of you that were able to get through the memory, I'm going to ask a few questions related to that memory only. Is there something more positively that you believe about yourself? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. And how much do you believe that thing related to that memory only? That positive belief, do you believe it a tiny bit, a moderate amount, or quite a bit related to that memory only? Anybody want to comment? Pretty good amount? Okay. Yeah, good. Typically, that's what we find. If it's only a tiny bit, then there's probably more work to do in that memory. You may have like sprinted through the calm scene and not gotten all of it. Yeah. Good. Now, flash might relax you. And you know what people who have 30 years of sleep deprivation mistake relaxation for? Is flash is exhausting me. No, it's relaxing you. But if you haven't slept well in 30 years or 20 years or 5 days, it may feel like that relaxation is actually this thing exhausting you. Okay, good. Questions? What questions do you have? I'm okay to go a few minutes over if y'all are. And those of you that need to go, let me go ahead and cover the territory that I need to cover. So first, this is only one of the versions of Flash, right? I'm one of the kind of main trainers. I've probably trained 20,000 people over the last 4 years. Phil Manfield, the developer, still does trainings. You're welcome to train with him. You can find his trainings at flashtechnique.com. Ricky Greenwald also does trainings pretty regularly with the Child Trauma Institute. Each training has different scripts and different versions, but it's still looking at a memory quickly and having disconfirming experiences in the calm scene. What's different about this version is it's made specifically for people with complex trauma, and it's designed to be done independent of EMDR therapy. So you don't have to be EMDR trained to use this version. Okay, the 4Blinks version of Flash website, 4blinks.com, has 6 demos, 6 demo videos that you can watch. Some of them using a baby as a calm scene, one of them using a cat as a calm scene. Okay, music as a calm scene. So check out those videos. The full script is on the 4Blinks website. It's on the site. It's on the live site that I put in chat, 4blinks.com/live, lowercase LIVE are the links that I referenced in this training. Okay. Questions? What questions do you have? I also offer those consultation groups. It's in the live file. It's also on the 4Blink site. It's also on my main website, thomaszimmerman.us. I do free consultation groups, and every single week I do a free flash practice group for therapists. So you can come and practice this version of Flash, working on your own relationships or your difficulties at work or the teenager in the house that you want to put your hands around their neck and choke, on a random Thursday morning. So whatever it is, because doing Flash, it's easier if you've done it quite a bit as the client. Okay. Also on the live site, you can see there's a reference to self-administered flash. So I have resources at resolvememories.com that'll walk you through resolving your own memories using flash, using a YouTube video on flash. Okay. And the MP3s that I have just play right over your YouTube video. Good. What questions do you have? You're welcome to come back to subsequent trainings for free. You're welcome to join one of the 6-hour trainings that I offer that offers a lot of one-on-one practicum. Okay? And
You said if we had any question or difficulty, we could message you. Are you talking about message on WhatsApp, or you were talking about here messaging on the Zoom chat?
I'm talking about here, but I also reply to emails. So flattext@gmail.com. You're welcome to email me, but I would really say if you can, come to a consultation group that I offer.
And the dates for those consultation groups are on your
They're
website?
all over the, yes, you can find them on 4Blinks. You can find them in the 4blinks.com/live, LIVE, all lowercase. The link is there. Also on thomaszimmerman.us. Right? Yeah.
Thank you. That
Yes.
was so good. That was so
Yes.
good. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Any questions? I hope everybody, yes, Maria.
Earlier, you briefly mentioned not to use it for pain. Can you maybe explain that or where it differs?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're not using shop vac for pain. We're using shop vac to vacuum out distress, right? Vacuum out distress from like anxiety or from activation in your body, right? Again, shop vac doesn't tend to work well with pain, like body-based pain, but it works pretty well with stress. Yeah. Questions? Do you have what you need to learn more? Do you feel like you know where to go? I don't want to leave you stranded. I want you to be able to connect. Also, if you're an EMDR therapist, I'm doing those EMDR with complex trauma trainings, and the reviews are pretty darn good. I think it is a very solid training to give you options in working with clients with really complex trauma. So if you're interested in that, I'm offering tons of scholarships for that training. You're welcome to get in. You're welcome to get in for nothing. Fill out a scholarship request. Right? I'm
Yeah,
happy
I've
to.
already signed up for that one.
Yeah, excellent. Yep. And I'm doing them in time zones, multiple time zones. So all of the US time zones, UK and Australia time zones. So, yeah. All right. Thank y'all for coming. Let me know how I can be helpful. Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Thank you so much, Thomas.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.